Okay guys, I would like to introduce you to Matt, owner-operator of RPM Auto Styling.
Correct.
So one of the things that I realized since the last time we made a video together, we've had a relationship running years now, years plural. I felt like on our last couple of videos I didn't do full credit to the full suite of services that you offer. And so I want to point out that RPM stands for something, right? So the
Yes.
R, restore. So I was hoping you could give our viewers an example of what are some examples of the restoration piece of your business?
So for restoring something, we can, it's going to be different for different vehicles. But for instance, we can remove existing clear bra that was just needed it due to age, that was installed improperly, any variable in between of those.
So I've heard you were explaining to me earlier, you do get customers that have had poor quality installation. They want it done right, so you can pull it off and you can put new stuff on. So,
Yes, well, I mean, we're coming up on almost 20 years of doing this, so we've got a little bit of experience in how to put on paint protection film.
right on.
So that helps.
Okay, so we were debating earlier also, you can do dent repair, paintless dent repair.
Yes.
So that kind of fits into two categories, but you might have somebody that brings in a vehicle with a dent already.
Absolutely. We have a client actually currently who we PPF the car originally, been driving it for a couple of years, took a large piece of debris on the road not too long ago. It ripped the film in the hood. The film saved the paint, but now we're going to remove that piece of film. Our paintless dent guy is going to come out, remove the dent, put a new piece of film
Nice.
on, and in the same day, he'll be back out on the road looking good.
Excellent. Okay, and then another service that we've had in the past, your favorite. I picked up a pretty good scratch on the Airstream a few years ago, so that is among your offerings, should that time come that somebody could bring it in and have it assessed, it sounds like.
Absolutely. We can do polishing. We do two-step polishes, just like your Airstream got two-step polished, and then the ceramic coating on top of that. But yes,
Okay.
heavier scratches can be addressed. The ones that are within our reason will tell you, if it is or if it is not. Because sometimes if it's too deep, then it's just time for more paint.
Got it.
But, if it's something we can handle, we'll let you know.
Right on, okay. Well, there we go. That's the R piece of RPM. We will come to you momentarily with the P piece of RPM. Okay, so the protection part of RPM. We've discussed that there's kind of two kinds.
Yes.
There's a film kind and there's sort of a chemical process with ceramic coating. So let's talk about the film part. I always get this wrong, paint protection film, PPF?
Correct.
Okay, so PPF comes in, I guess these rolls as sort of a vinyl product. You were explaining to me that when you walk up to a car that has PPF on it, there's no badging. You can't tell what brand of PPF it is, but it matters.
That is correct.
So now you use
Sun
good
tank.
quality. Okay, and the brand is?
Sun tank.
Sun tank. Okay, so what is PPF and why would you consider the brand that you're using to be a good quality brand? What are the aspects of it that make it good?
So PPF overall is an 8 mil thick urethane. It is designed to have impact resistance. So basically where a clear coat on a vehicle is fully hardened like a rock, with the paint protection film on there is going to have it's like a shock absorber. Little stones and whatnot that would normally chip your paint is going to hit the film and bounce off.
Okay.
Not that paint protection film can't be damaged, but the idea behind that is if something large enough that does hit it, we can remove a clear piece of film and replace it with a clear piece of film, and there's no paint work or real downtime to the vehicle.
So you get, it's a little sacrificial, sacrifice the coating or the PPF instead of the actual paint. You can remove that, put a new piece on, off you go. That's phenomenal. Now, you had explained to me too, to some degree, within reason, there's a bit of a healing quality also to this product.
Yes, so under normal circumstances, if you ran a car through, let's say, just a drive-through car wash, within a short period of time, you're going to see the scratches all over the car,
Yeah.
just in the paint. I mean, it just
Yep.
kind of has that like spider web look everywhere. Those are the types of scratches that will come out of paint protection film. So
Okay.
if not, well, I guess not if, it's when you get bugs and debris on the front end of your vehicle after driving it, you have to scrub it and clean it up. Well, that would normally scratch the paint.
Right.
It will scratch the film at first, but on a warm day like we're having today, you pull it outside after you're done cleaning it up, and those scratches are going to
Kind
go
of
away,
sense.
like you polish the paint.
Now, to be clear, I'll explain to our viewers, this is the good stuff
Yes.
that you
yes, it
use that
is.
does this. Okay, another thing you're explaining to me is you can actually put PPF on the whole vehicle, and there's other advantages like UV.
Yes.
What was that about?
So, because the film has to be UV stable for itself, so when you pull it outside, that it basically doesn't get sunburnt. In turn, it is also protecting the panels below. So when we cover a full vehicle, you never have to wax that vehicle again.
Okay.
Like, it is literally sunblock protected the entire thing. So wherever we put film, you have sun protection.
Right on.
Then the vehicles that would get like the full front to them, you know, we usually do something like ceramic coating or some sort of protection on the rest of the vehicle, so that way everything stays matching throughout the course of the vehicle's life.
Got it. And then final closure there on the quality of different vinyls, or not vinyl. You explained it's not vinyl, so my bad. They're not all created equal. You've been in situations where people have come in and asked you to remove PPFs of other brands because it's actually hard to get off, right? Like it's no longer PPFing; it's become a problem in itself.
Yes, I mean it's just like most things in the world. There are different levels of qualities to things, and I prefer and always have preferred to use a good quality product so that way you're not coming back over and over. Even if there was a warranty on the cheaper products, it's like I don't want you to have to keep coming back over just minor things that shouldn't be happening. With a good product, I
You're
should
not
see you on
gonna
the
have
next
to-
vehicle.
Won't have to revisit. Okay. Okay. So the kinds of things you can put PPF on, I think, obviously automotive. Obviously, because you've done it, you can do RVs.
Oh yeah.
Folks can bring their trailers and RVs here, work on right here in Arizona.
Yep.
Motorcycles, I think you told me.
Yep.
Oh yeah, look at this. We have a convenient mountain bike here. So by the time this video airs, we will have already aired a previous video where you wrapped this bike. But one of my guilty feelings after publishing that video is we didn't have a chance to talk about what you did, the work on the bike. And so this bike has been PPF'd, and it's been PPF'd in the good stuff. The reason that I did this is most of the damage that my bike takes is, it's actually not riding the bike. It's in transport. It's when I leave it at those bike shops and I can't watch over it. So you've fully armored this bike. I mean, head to toe,
Oh yeah.
the whole bike. It took many hours. You did a gorgeous job on it. So I was wondering if you could just take us through, for example, there are different thicknesses on this bike, and you made choices about that. So maybe you could just tell me about how you decided to go about the process and what you did.
So it started with using the SunTech Reaction as our base layer. So that film has the ceramic coating built into it.
Oh, it has ceramic in it.
Yes. So that one is
Okay.
going to, one, make
Give
this
us
a
a
lot
really cool
easier to clean up, but just also keep the ultra high gloss look to the super awesome paint.
So, okay, so to clarify, ceramic already in the PPF
Yes.
makes it easier to clean and keeps the luster, that nice, beautiful luster to it. Okay, phenomenal. All right.
And then in our more high impact areas, so back here by where
Okay.
the tires turning,
Yep.
we have a piece here on the top too.
Yeah, and I asked you for that because I ride with a night riding, battery that's pretty hard on the paint, so I asked you specifically about that. So you put on the thicker stuff there to kind of guard against that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I explained to you that one of the common phenomena in mountain biking is You get a rock stuck in the tire, exactly the perfect size here, like 1/4 inch minus, spins through and etches out the paint off your $11,000 mountain bike. So you super armored her up in here too.
Oh yes. And those are all areas too that we did with the second layer of the 11.5 mil thick film that will take a super good beating. But yet we made it convenient enough to where when that piece does get beat up, because it is a mountain bike, it's going to happen if it gets ridden, we can remove it easily and just replace that small piece and
Beautiful.
stay looking good the entire time.
Right on. So that reminds me, as a final kind of a closeout here on our discussion about PPF. It can lift, there can be little corners, right? And so you maintain that, so that's part of our M, which is coming, but you can deal with that, right? Like it's very easy to keep it maintained and looking professional all the time.
Absolutely, and especially on things like this where this is much more difficult than a vehicle or an RV per se, because the surface area is so much smaller
Right.
with the tension that it's kind of like, you almost have to experiment with how far you can take the film to really push it to its limits, and then basically where it doesn't make it, we trim those pieces out and
Try again.
yeah.
So this is 20 years of experience talking here, watching you work on the bike, which again is montaged in our previous video, but you had a lot of technique, and it was very impressive to watch. Sometimes hot water, sometimes a heat gun, sometimes stretching. So there are many techniques that you applied in order to apply it to. I think at one point you had mentioned that there's no straight parts on any of this bike, so it's not like doing a vehicle. So the PPF crushed it, I think. We just a reminder viewers, you have applied PPF to the Airstream. We had a rear cap section that was damaged, and we elected to put PPF over it for now. I might replace the panel someday, but formerly we've had some PPF put inside some of the storage areas where you're always beating up the doors. So it's really versatile stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay, there we go, PPF. Okay, this is the second conversation about protection. This time we are going to talk about ceramic coating. This is Andrew. Andrew had the pleasure of working on this enormous beast of a trailer and did the ceramic coating for it. So in our prep for taking this video, Andrew did an amazing walkthrough. He is incredibly knowledgeable about ceramic coating. So Andrew, I was wondering if you could run through that again for us and tell our viewers what ceramic coating is.
So ceramic coating is like what I like to call, my favorite thing to say, is like a layer of glass over the top of your paint.
Okay.
It's going to protect against micro swirl marks.
Okay.
Make your vehicle very hydrophobic, which makes it repel the water.
Okay.
Keeps the dust and the dirt off of it, and puts some UV protection into it as well. All of these things right here are very, very important when maintaining your vehicle on a daily basis. As for something like this big right here, it's a process, you know what I mean? But
so now you mentioned micro swirl marks. I think you were explaining to me, we're all familiar with this, but may not know that's the term. Can you explain to our viewers what the micro swirl marks are and why the ceramic helps?
Yes, for sure. So micro swirl marks are a lot of times when you see like a car going down the freeway or something like that, and they have a bunch of spider webbing looking things on the side of their vehicles when the sun hits it in the correct spot.
Like my truck.
So when you have stuff like that, that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. It's the webbing. It's the those are micro swirl marks.
And the ceramic resists
this? Ceramic coating is going to resist this a lot more than it would without having it on the vehicle. So with putting the ceramic coating on, it's going to resist those micro swirl marks. It's going to keep them off of the vehicle. And with that being said, if you do get those micro swirl marks, it's gonna be easier to keep those off of the vehicle, and it's gonna be easier for me to polish them out if something like that were to happen to your vehicle.
So during our maintenance phase, easier to maintain.
For sure, 100%.
Okay, so fantastic knowledge there on what the ceramic coat helps on, for the scratches or the micro swirl marks. You mentioned UV. What does UV do to paint, and then why is it a good idea to have the ceramic coating on top of it?
The UV, the ultraviolet light from the sun, it's big, especially out here in Arizona.
It is, yeah.
Being in Arizona, during the summertime, come April, you have 100+ degree days all the way through September time.
And
so
brutal sun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The sun is really what beats down the clear coats of these paints without having the ceramic coating on top of it. So protecting it from UV, what I mean by that is that it's going to keep the paint from fading. It's going to keep the paint from having the clear coat fail on you. It's going to keep the paint from doing things that it shouldn't be doing throughout the lifetime of you owning the vehicle.
Okay.
The ceramic coating is going to put some UV protection into it, and it's going to keep the clear coat in the best condition possible, like it was from factory. So that's what I also like to tell customers as well, is it's best to get your car done immediately rather than wait, because if you wait, it's going to be a lot more of a process for me to polish it out, and it's probably going to be more of a cost. But on top of that, your paint's not going to be in the 100% best condition because it didn't come straight from factory.
It's already incurred some damage.
For sure.
I've mentioned many times in our channel, I wish I had known that these products existed when I got my truck and when I got the trailer. So live and learn, and so now I've learned, right?
For sure, yeah.
You mentioned hydrophobic, so it rejects water, and I mentioned to our viewers often when we wash the trailer, and by the way, this is true months and months and months, long after we've had the ceramic coating done, we'll spray down the trailer and it runs right off. It's almost like Teflon, right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Instead of beating up. So that's another property. I've heard it's oleophobic, so it kind of rejects bugs and oil too.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
For sure, it is. And like your trailer, for example, I mean, I don't know when the last time you had washed it was before you had brought it to us to ceramic coat it again this time. But when you had brought it to us already, I walked out and I was like, this thing's clean. What does it need? You know what I mean? Just because it's already ceramic coated.
It's true. Yeah.
Ceramic coating really helps keep the vehicles in their best shape, in their best condition, keeps them glossy, it keeps the paint on them immaculate. You can also put it on interiors, you can put it on wheels, you can put it on your glass, you can do all of that stuff. Now putting it on the interiors is only gonna better the protection of your vehicle, obviously. You put it on your dashboard, for example, the heat and stuff like that, kind of like the same thing with windshield tint. You put windshield tint on your windshield, it's gonna protect that dashboard from the UV rays and all that stuff and keep it from cracking. Same thing as ceramic coating. Now, if you don't want to put some windshield tint on your vehicle, let's throw some ceramic coating on that dashboard. Let's keep it from cracking. Let's keep it from damaging from the sun, fading, so on and so forth.
Okay.
Leather over time, fades. Certain colors of leather, they fade over time being in the sun, especially being here in Arizona. It's a big, huge thing.
UV is your enemy. Now, this is not hyperbole. You mentioned a thin layer of glass. It's true. It is. It's silicon dioxide. I've looked it up. Primary component of glass and ceramic. So it really is.
For sure.
Glass.
And when you notice that, like when I'm installing it on the bottle, you'll notice over time when I'm installing it kind of crusts around like the cap in a way. And when it crusts around the cap, it really hardens. And when you can like,
so it's glass bits.
Yeah, it's literally glass bits. That's why I like to call it a glass layer.
I think that's awesome because the product's real, right? When you're applying it. So.
Exactly.
All right. So in a minute here, we're going to get a demonstration of the application process, and we'll talk about what Andrew went through for putting this on the Airstream.
For sure.
So Andrew's going to give us a little bit of a demonstration about what it's like to apply the ceramic. And in our discussion before filming this section, you were mentioning there's quite a bit that takes place before the ceramic is applied, and also you were mentioning it's in your interest to renew the ceramic because your work is easier when you come back. So I was wondering if you could take us through that journey. What is the prep process like?
Yeah,
and why is it to our advantage to keep up to date on it? And then you'll show us.
So like somebody like Emily here, she keeps up very well with her Airstream and stuff like that. When she brought it to me this first time, this was my first time ever doing the Airstream for her. It was done by a girl that had done it last year, who is not working for us anymore. She goes to college and stuff like that. But when Emily had brought us this Airstream this time around, I went through and I washed it. I did a full-on thorough wash with the pressure washer and the foam cannon. After drying it off and stuff like that, I went through and clay barred the whole entire Airstream.
What is clay bar?
So clay bar removes any of the deep paint contaminants that are on the paint.
Okay.
So you'll find like little black specks. You'll find like little tiny things that you can't see with your naked eye, but you can feel them. So if you feel your paint, you'll feel it's a little bit rough, but you can't see them.
Got it.
So those are the types of things that the clay bar helps bring out, those paint contaminants. And that's what helps within the polishing process of when you have to polish something like this.
Okay.
Now, when you have paint contaminants and stuff like that that are in the paint, not on the paint to where you can just wipe it off, when they're in the paint and you take a polisher to it, those contaminants now stick to the polishing pad, and that polishing pad now rubs those contaminants into the paint and tends to scratch it even more, and you're just making more work for yourself as the
So
time goes on.
if you've previously guarded with ceramic, then
For sure.
it won't get in the paint.
No. So
Okay.
even with having ceramic coating, you're not going to get those paint contaminants that the
In
other
the first
cars
place. Okay.
exactly that those other cars do get without the ceramic coating.
Okay.
So that's going to keep them from happening as well.
Great. So would you like to show us how this is applied?
Yeah, for sure. So I like to use a auto fiber, I believe is what this brand is called. This is an auto fiber applicator pad. I use both sides. As you can see, the side's a little dirty because I had already used it, but these are plastic lined. So you can use these frequently. You can use them more than once. So like I use one side and then I flip it over and I use the other side and then I'll toss it. But this stuff here, this is one of my favorite applicator pads, super easy to use. This is the Crystal, this is the G-Technic Exo. So this is the coating that I had applied to Emily's Airstream over here. This is an 18 to 24 month coating. It is fairly easy to apply. It's fairly easy for the everyday person to apply it. The stuff that isn't easy for the everyday person is the labor intensive work, which is the polishing. Now, when you brought your Airstream to us this time, because you keep up on it, because you do the ceramic coating so frequently, once a year I believe, right?
Yep.
Because you do it so frequently, you bring this to us. I did not have to polish it at all this time.
Okay.
So if you go around the whole entire Airstream, you can look very, very closely. Emily has no scratches in this entire thing. No water marks, no water runs, no water spots. That's because she's been back every year to do the ceramic coating. And with doing that has kept those things from coming about.
Now you mentioned if you don't keep up on it, it can actually cost you more money when you come back eventually.
For sure.
Because it might have degraded to the point where you have a lot of work then to prep it again. So never underestimate the quality of work that professionals do. I would not do this myself. I'm very, very impressed with the quality of the work that you do. So
For sure.
All right.
We appreciate it big time. So this one, like I said, didn't get polished. Now, if I were to have to polish something like this, it's ginormous, and we'll have to obviously charge accordingly, you know what I mean? So that's what I go along with saying when Emily is very good at keeping up on her stuff, is that when she brings it back to us and I don't have to polish it, she's saving a lot of money on her end. Not only a lot of money on her end, but it's saving me a huge headache because I definitely don't want to be here after hours polishing a massive Airstream. So, and metal polishing is very, very dirty. It's not easy to do at all. It's a lot different than your everyday normal paint job.
Okay.
So this right here is the G-Technic Exo coating. This is good for 18 to 24 months. I like to take it here and apply it to the applicator foam pad, the foam applicator pad. I'll do one short line across the front of it here, just like so.
There's so little of the product too. It's amazing.
It goes a really long way. So I'll do just one little line like that right here. I like to work in, when I first started doing coating, I like to work in small sections.
Okay.
Now, once you have bigger pads and once you start to get better at applying it, quicker at moving along the vehicle and those spots, you can work in bigger sections. So for example, when I would do it for, when I was first starting doing ceramic coating, I would only do a little section, like so. Now, this is great for when you're first starting because you know where you went. You're not losing track of where you went. So I know I went right there. Now, if I were to do this whole panel, walk away, I mean, my only guide points to know where I stopped are these two bolts here, correct? Now, if I walk away, I mean, the camera can't even see that I applied coating, right? And so I could walk away and say I go do something for about 5 minutes. This is not gonna wipe off. It's like glue. It's very, very thick. So something like this has to be wiped off immediately, like right now.
So there's 2 steps. You apply it and then you do a wipe step. Okay.
So you apply and then you wipe.
So this is unimaginably thin stuff that you apply with this thin little line and then wipe off. Okay.
So this right here, a lot of times I like to apply it all with your Airstream being outside because of the different heats and the different humidities and the DAs and stuff like that tend to mess with the coatings and how they apply and how they adhere. So like yours, for example, I was able to lay the coating and wipe it off immediately. Sometimes you can lay the coating down and you'll have to wait a little bit for it to flash at you before you can wipe it off.
Okay.
So different scenarios, you know, different types of weather conditions are different for
So now,
other places.
this knowledge is why I feel strongly that you should get a professional to do this, because you understand this.
For sure, 100%.
A typical person doing this, yeah, you could, but you understand when it flashes and what the wipe off process is and the timing exactly.
Exactly. And if you were to leave the coating on there, I mean, it's just I have the tools here to remove the coating if I were to leave a spot. There's these things called high spots. Now, if I were to leave a piece of coating behind, if I were to ceramic coat this area here, like so, right? Ceramic coat that area, and I only wiped off half of it, right? I only go to wipe off half, but I leave that other half over there. That's gonna leave kind of like a, it's almost looks like a rainbow. This right here, when you leave that and it gets rainbowed over, has to be polished out.
Okay.
After polishing this entire section out, you now have to recoat the entire section that you were working on, because you just polished off all the ceramic coating that was there. So you have to be very careful when applying the ceramic coating and really know where you're going, or else you'll lose track. I've done it before, and it's not the easiest going back.
It sounds horrible.
Especially on something like this, you know what I mean?
But you're a professional and now you know these lessons.
Exactly.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, about how long does it take something this size? I mean, I realize we all understand it depends on the condition of the paint and how much prep you have to do, but how long did it take you with my Airstream being in as good a condition as it was, because we've already maintained it?
With you maintaining yours and being as good a condition as it was in, this one took me about a day and a half. So that was with me, you know, taking breaks here and there, going to do some other jobs that had come into the shops that were scheduled already. So I have to accommodate for other customers as well while doing this one. So yesterday, for example, I was here all day. I had to wait till the sun got to the other side of the building in order for me to even work on that side.
The other side.
And so after hours at 5 o'clock rolled around, that's the only time I was able to do it. So
I
it's
made you
like
work
I have
after
to.
5?
Hey, no, it's okay. I
I'm
love
a bad
working.
person.
I love work. So I mean, I was just laying coating, you know what I mean? But it's so much easier to lay it when it's not in the sun compared to if I were to be laying it in the sun. Now, that's why I'd rather stay late. I'll stay late to lay coating in the sun and be easier
Good
on
point.
me, rather than have to do it during the day and it be not good at all.
So, obviously, again, your results may vary depending on the condition of your vehicle, but you have other people that bring RVs here, right? So you guys do this routinely.
Yes,
So,
yes, we do.
Okay.
We do it pretty frequently. Like I said, each one is different. Everyone is different. To be honest with you, this is probably the best condition RV, trailer home, motorhome I have ever seen.
Well, it's in no small part.
And I've been detailing for about 6 to 7 years now, and this right here is one of the best, if not the best condition one I have seen. I don't know what year it is, but
16.
That's awesome.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
That's
That's what goes along with me saying it's just in immaculate condition. And once you ceramic coat your vehicles or your RVs or things like this, as you guys can see,
it stays
over
this way.
time. It stays this way. A 2016 that was not ceramic coated and never touched is never going to look like this right here. You'll have a lot of dull metal. You'll have a lot of water runs and water spots and stuff like that. And once comes that, it's hard to find a detailer that's going to take their time and sit there and actually polish out all that metal. Because, like I said, that metal is very hard to polish.
Now, one thing I've always wondered before we finish this out, do you ceramic coat the windows?
I do ceramic coat.
You
the
do?
windows.
Okay.
So all these
the windows
windows
are done.
all these windows all have 2 layers of ceramic coating on them. That's the other thing that I forgot to mention too, is that when I do these windows and stuff like that, and I do the paint, I like to apply 2 layers. The more the layers, the more the coating you're giving. Okay. So if I only apply 1 layer, that's why they always give a range of, like, let's say this one, 18 to 24 months, you know what I mean? Now, applying 1 layer is probably only going to get you 18 months. Applying those 2 layers and going through it thoroughly is going to get you that full life of the coating, and it might even get you some more too. So really depends on what you're using and how you apply it.
I think I should mention that to our viewers. I've seen other videos that suggest that ceramic it's invulnerable and it lasts forever, and it's clear that's not true.
No.
You need to maintain it.
Yes.
It has to be reapplied. So like you said, it could go 18, could go 24. I would argue that we are very, very heavy users of our Airstream. She goes all over the country. We went to Canada last year.
Oh, that's cool.
And that, I think that she earns her keep.
100%.
You know, so.
I mean, especially taking it to Canada, you know what I mean? I don't know what time of year you guys took it in over there, but it snows over there, you know what I mean? So you have the salt on the roads, you have all of that other stuff. That ceramic coating is going to also help with all of that. It's going to keep the salt off the vehicle, it's going to keep it from rusting, it's going to keep it, like the metal, for example, you know, rusts very, very easily.
Yeah.
All these bolts, you know what I mean? All these little rivets, all these little tiny bolts right here. Everything right here that you see on a 2016 that isn't ceramic coated, I can guarantee you all of these bolts are all rusted. If not, have some type of rust looking on them already because it's not coated. Now, you said you take it to far places and stuff like that, and on long trips, going along with the salt and stuff like that. Not only the salt, but any other type of weather condition. My car, for example, I had a lot of work done to it a couple months ago out in California. It sat in California for 2 months before I was able to bring it back. Not being washed, not being touched, but just sitting, just the car sitting in that 2-month period of time without me washing it or touching it, it got so many contaminants onto the paint. I had to clay bar the vehicle, I had to re-polish it out, I had to re-ceramic coat it because that weather literally ate everything away.
My gosh.
So the weather is little does everybody know. It's one of your biggest enemies when it comes to keeping up on a vehicle, paint-wise. So
Beautiful. Well, thank you for showing us the application process, explaining all the ins and outs of it. Again, folks, Andrew, RPM.
For sure, not a problem at all. Thank you guys for letting me protect this awesome
You're
thing.
now YouTube
It's
famous.
awesome. For sure.
Final chapter, maintain piece of RPM. So just like everything, chaos ensues, things happen. So you've protected your vehicle, it goes out and encounters the enemy, be it whatever, dense rain. So in comes the maintenance piece. We've already been over my piece of the maintenance. Everybody has clearly gotten the message. They should stay up on their ceramic. What other kinds of maintenance do you do?
So I think as we briefly mentioned in the restore part is one of the biggest things is dent repair.
Dent repair, okay.
That goes hand in hand with PPF a lot because of the fact that, you know, a panel that does have paint protection film on it, when a large enough object hits it, it will destroy the clear rod. But again, the nice part about that is just removing the clear piece of film, replacing that. But then we'll have someone come out, remove the dent that isn't incurring any more paint work. We're literally just bringing the panel back to where it was. I mean, and now, granted, there is an infinite amount of possibilities too. I'm not going to say this is the fix all or stop all for all of it, but like the majority of stuff that we see that's not like a super hard hit, like just a normal large piece of debris, paint protection film has saved it. You know, sometimes very minimal, you know, paint little touch-ups, but like we have PDR come out, get it fixed, bring it back to life, put the film back on.
Paintless dent repair.
Yes.
Great. It's a thing.
And that can go, I mean, that's gone as far as, you know, when we've done the full body vehicles, you know, quarter panels, but most of the stuff is going to be on your front end. We do a lot of full doors from door dealers, and it goes along with that too. So like, you know, a lot of times when we do a full front end, someone will add doors because a lot of times when you're in a parking lot,
The door dings, yep, the door
days,
fairies.
again, the film saves it. Someone comes out, pops the dent back out, put the film back on. There's no real downtime to the car other than just some film replacement. It's like going to a body shop for weeks.
How many times have you come out into the parking lot and you've got the little dent on the door? Okay, so we've covered there's ceramic maintenance, PPF maintenance, dent maintenance. Andrew brought up something I'd never heard of before. So you mentioned
Detailing. I mean, it's detailing maintenance. It's a lot of
detailing
things
maintenance.
that go along with washing a car. It's not just you're just washing the outside of a car. You know what I mean? It's a lot more that entails into maintaining your vehicle while detailing. And one of those things I feel like is huge to me is the inner dishes of wheels.
Inner dishes.
So the inner dish.
Yeah, what is an inner dish for our?
I mean, the inner dish of your wheel, you're going to be looking at the outside. So you have the outer face.
Okay.
Right. So here's the outer face, but the inner dish is going to be the inside
Got it.
in here. A lot of times you're going to see that detailers touch the outside of the wheel, but the inner face isn't touched. Now you're going to see towel marks and stuff like that from him cleaning the wheel, but the interface isn't touched. Now that is such a big thing because brake dust eats away your paint. It eats away a lot of materials that are on the wheels.
I had no idea. Okay.
So as you can see on my wheel, for example, this one actually doesn't have it very much. The rear wheel, if you leave brake dust sitting, it'll eat away the clear coat of the paint. It'll over time eat it away if you're not washing it off. BMWs, Mercedes, and all those vehicles, for example, have a crazy amount of brake dust from factory.
And so the brake dust is damaging. I had no idea.
The brake dust damages the brake dust.
Okay.
Brake
and
dust.
now you mentioned too, the brake dust has an effect on the caliper too, like on the painting.
Yeah.
So
100%.
you've got these beautifully painted calipers here. Are you saying that would actually?
Over time, yes, it'll
Okay.
definitely hurt the clear coat of the caliper. As you can see, these are a pretty glossy red. Over time, leaving brake dust on that caliper is going to dull them out. It's going to take away that clear coat. It's going to basically make them like a flat red over time.
Got it.
Or it's going to give you a lot of black marks, a lot of black spots that you cannot get off anymore because that brake dust has just eaten so far into that paint and it's like glue and it's just not going to come off.
So this is the same thing we've covered earlier. That stay up with your maintenance.
For sure, 100%.
Ultimately, less work.
Yeah, for
Less
sure.
money,
And like
ultimately.
as you can see right here, yes, my wheels are dirty, but going along with cleaning these all the time, if you keep them up, keep them clean, if you keep doing the inner dishes of the wheels, I mean, yes, they're dirty, but as you can see, just by me wiping it with my hand, it's pretty
Came
clean.
right off.
It's really
Yep.
clean. They come right off.
Okay.
So the more you keep your wheels clean, the more you keep that brake dust off of there, the easier they're going to be to clean. The more brake dust that you have on there after already cleaning the wheels, the next time that you go to clean that wheel, it's going to be hard to clean. It's going to take you a really long time.
Got it. Now, final closing question now. I noticed on one of my bills, you have a customer discount. So you encourage people to come back and maintain.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was always, it's funny, there's a large phone carrier that really irritated me back in the day because of the way that they discount products. They only wanted to discount to new people.
New people.
And I said, that's not the way, that's not the way I want to do things. If you've already been here and you like us here, you're the ones that I want to offer the discounts. Because, well, you've already supported us. We support you.
And it's an encouragement to keep maintaining.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, guys. There you've been A to Z. R, P, L. Pleasure to do business with you.